It's Starry. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. It is January 1st. Just a second here. It is January 1st. Just a second. It is January 1st, 2023. So happy New Year's, everyone. We're going to continue to be looking into the past, though, with the history of Hobo nickels through the lens of my collection, which fortunately I have found that collection at the estate sale, which makes it possible for us to actually look through history. Does not look like we have very many people here, so we'll start out greeting the people in the chat and try to catch them as they come in. Diggin was the first one in the house. And she says, Happy New Year's, Dana Reed, and Rune International. Well, Dana Reed was here about 6 minutes after that, and then Rune came in at about 10 till, and Dinglehopper, also from Denmark, came in at a minute later. Lockpicking engineer all the way here from Australia. Guido's is here. Chris Capoon has arrived and is in the house. Fox in the Ground Detecting is here. Brockton Magnet Fisher. I did not expect Brockton to show up. It's a pleasure to have you in the house. And Pocket Watch is here from Australia. So as usual, if you look in the description of either Starrylock or Starry's Lost and Found, you will find the links to the other morning shows that are coming up. If you're on the Starrylock channel and stay there after I finish my stream, it will automatically redirect you over to Rob's stream. I was going to alternate between Rob and Liz, but I might have to. There's some kind of setting that you can put in that prevents people from redirecting onto your video, and Liz apparently has done that. So, Polar Bear Yummy is here. God is Great, which is Ken, all the way from Japan. Red Dragon Videos. If you are hearing me mention a channel you do not see in your chat, it's probably because you're in one or the other and they're in the other. Yeah, I think you get the idea. I'm streaming from two channels. It can be a bit confusing at times, but we're up to 15 people. Why don't we give it a few more minutes and I'll go over the lives that are coming up this morning. Happening right now, simultaneous to mine, is Rob and his co-host from Digging It Back, Mr. Charlie, are doing their live as we speak. Coffee with Liz starts about the time I end. Mayor Video is about 90 minutes after I end is when Marlon and Tripwire will start the creator meet and greet Sundays. Guido's ends a little bit. He starts just a little bit before Marlin ends, depending on how late Marlin runs. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time, John and Percy will be having their live over on the Mercy Metal Detecting at, I think it's 6 p.m. I do not have this on the list because it's an evening live, but 6 p.m. Eastern is when Hunting Southwest Ohio will be doing their live for the multi-channel silver giveaway. Tripwire is here. Straight up metal detecting. We're up to 17 people between the two channels. We might as well get started here. You'll notice I don't have my desk cam at the moment. That's because in order to have the magnifying camera I can only, without paying them, StreamYard only allows me 2 cameras. So and I do have the coin cam set up in case I end up using it. So. If anybody out there, Brockton's never been here before, obviously, so he now has his blue wrench. So, 2 weeks ago, I went into the whole use of the terminology of neobo, contemporary, and modern, and we took a look at the 3 coins that I have from Frank Brazel. And Frank Brazel pretty much obviously stopped making hobo nickels when he passed away in '95. There are contemporary carvers who were starting up in about the same time period, and so they're in Alpert's book on hobo nickels, he labels the people who started up in the 90s as late modern artists. So Alpert's book's a little out of date at that point, when mid-90s is late modern. His book was published in 2002. So Ron Landis, I do not have a Ron Landis coin, but I do have some other things from Ron Landis. So we'll take a look at him as an artist. I'll read the bio that Alpert has. Ron Landis is a highly skilled engraver who operates the Gallery Mint Museum in Eureka, Arkansas. He makes accurate copies of colonial and early American coins for collectors from dies he cut by hand, and they are struck on old contemporary techniques. Ron began carving hobo nickels in 1993 and has made about 200 pieces, all totally hand-engraved and beautifully done. Each piece is signed to RL, as well as subsequently numbered and dated. Some of his works are reversed carving, which means He does a carving on the side of the buffalo, which traditionally is rarely done, but as we get into our later contemporaries, you'll find that it starts to become more frequent. Made standard designs, which means he pretty much sticks with the modifying the Indian face into various hat wearing, whether bearded or non-bearded men. But most of his carvings are creative, unique designs. Because of his top quality workmanship, his hobo nickels are highly prized by collectors and usually sell for several hundred or thousands of dollars a piece at auction. And of course, remember, this is 2002, so at auction would not mean eBay. I don't think eBay is quite that old. So he also issues one to three hobo tokens annually. He engraves his steel dies with the obverse and reverse designs and then strikes the token on Jefferson nickels. So if Ron Landis is selling for thousands of dollars in 2002, obviously I do not have the kind of money to be buying a Ron Landis original. And as he only made a couple hundred, they become extremely rare some 20 years after that bio is written. Back Road Exploits is here. And Percy over at the Mercy and Metal Detecting is here. And Orlando, 717 detector. Boy, my tongue is sticking in my mouth. So there is a look at his company logo, Landis Studios. It says that he works at that gallery museum. He was a head engraver there, but he is retired from that job and started up Landis Studios. And he only occasionally makes these tokens. Let's see if I can get this right. These are based on his hobo nickel designs. And then, as it said, he will make a die, and then he overstrikes the Jefferson nickel. And occasionally on these, you will see signs of Jefferson, or on the reverse, the Jefferson Memorial. There is what the obverse looks like. See, I think I'm going to take it out of the holder so that you don't get the plastic glare. There we go. Yeah. There is the obverse. He must have took the year from the Jefferson nickels because it says 1996. So that obviously was not a viable year for a buffalo nickel. And then that is not focusing. Why don't we put it over here? Where you would get on the bottom of a buffalo nickel 5 cents, it says on here on forgive me for all my professionalism here. It says hobo token. So he is not trying to, confuse or defame anyone. Or make fraudulent coins. He's straight out, hey, this is a hobo token. And that means it's there to commemorate Hobo coins. This particular one says Eureka Springs across the top, which is his home base, and then ARK because Eureka Springs is in Arkansas. And then you'll notice there are his die actually was designed to create all sorts of cruffy lines and so forth to make it look like it's a little bit of a worn buffalo. And this coin cam is not cooperating. Down here on the leg, we have the initials NT. And I'm not sure what NT would stand for. Might be something token, I don't know. And then Atlantis Studios, G Keyman 565 is here. Down in Landis Studios, he makes banjo picks, and they're all customized engraved banjo picks, and you can get them done out of steel, sterling silver, and I think brass, if I remember right, but I could be wrong. And then he makes other things like, let's see whether or not you can, that is a pair of, let's put them under the cam. This is divided into 4 quarters and then printed as a coin. And it says 1/4 gram because each quarter is a 1/4 gram. So the whole, if you have all 4 quarters together, it is 1 gram of 24 karat gold. And he makes those and a few other items. And he occasionally shows up at the National Hobo Convention in Brit in the second weekend in August. And God is great is asking Shred metal detecting if he knows anything about air, nickels, and pennies. Our next historic carver that we have is Sonny Carpenter. And Alpert's listing on him is extremely brief, so we don't have a whole lot. And finding carvers on the internet is a real hit or miss. This is not a heavily studied topic, so I always seem to find these topics that I'm interested in that barely anybody else is. I guess that's why the original Hobo Nickel Society is an international organization consisting of about 450 people. So, and they don't seem to have the best of web skills for posting things on the net. So, just saying. But Alpert's book, published in 2002, has a 2-sentence description of Sonny Carpenter. Sonny Carpenter is an understudy of Ron Lantis, and he has created a limited number of hobo nickels, both obverse and reverse carving, and he does very nice work. So, there is no sign of work on the reverse. It looks like the date is missing on his nickel, and part of the word liberty is, but there is the first of 2 hobo nickels that I have from Sonny Carpenter. As you can see, most of the Indian face has been left undisturbed. He's added a hat, added an ear and part of a collar on a coat, and got rid of the feathers that were part of the other Sonny Carpenter I have. Also no sign of any alterations of the reverse. And here the hat's a little more complete, but it's a very similar style to the first one. You can somewhat still see the feathers on here. Yeah. I'm not sure if he intended to incorporate them as part of the hat, or he just didn't fully clean them off before he started working on the hat. Sorry about my great camera work here. But then the other thing is he has the start of a cigarette on there. So, but otherwise they are pretty much near copies of each other. So, oh, let's see what's going on in the chat. LL is here from Keep Digging. There is every year more and more hobo nickel carvers out there. You can buy contemporary hobo nickel carvers. Some of them hold auctions. on their Facebook accounts. Some of them do Etsy. Some of them sell through eBay. So you can easily find contemporaries. You're best off on eBay sticking with a given artist's eBay page, because you never know what you're going to get if you're buying from somebody else out there as to how authentic it is. And Steve's lockpicking is here. And Anna's burning curiosity, who keeps sending me messages usually after the live saying she missed it today, but she made it. Are those two stepladders part of the magic act? No. Nor are they there simply to hold those filing cabinets in place. So, nothing exciting in that area. Sorry. Anne's Burning Curiosity has a really good channel. You should check her out. Well, I mean, check all of each other out, obviously, but she shows vintage films sometimes, and then she also does some urbex exploring and has topical. I really enjoy her channel. Kind of an eclectic mix of things. Shane, oh, you were hoping for a magic deck. Expressions of the outdoors. Hey, Starry, I hope you had a nice new year. So far, so good. Oh, and Steve's lockpicking. If you haven't done so already, you should check out Lockmania's channel. That's all I'll say. What are we dealing with for time? It is 8:30. We got 23 likes over on Starry's Lost and Found. I don't know how it's doing over on Starrylock. I'm monitoring it on a tablet off to my right here, and it's a little hard to check out both of them without. I'll leave it at that. So, our third and final person has a short paragraph, so a little bit more than Sonny got. I have some Bill Jameson, and that is all of his late modern carvers that I have. After this, I don't know what I'm going to use for a reference as to how old something is. But we at least know that Ron Landis, Sonny Carpenter, and Bill Jameson all date from the 80s and 90s. Bill began carving Hobo nickels 7 years ago. This is published in 2002, possibly written, in 2001. So that means Bill Jameson would have started carving in 94, 95. And made about 500 to date. The quality of his work is markedly improved after he received tips from Arthur Hutchinson. And Arthur L. Hutchinson is listed right above Bill Jameson. I do not have an Arthur Hutchinson to show you. On the use of proper tools and a scope. He now makes very nice, desirable Hobo nickels, including reverse carvings. The fields on his nickels are either smooth and concave or nicely stippled. He artificially ages some of his carvings by toning them to an attractive, darkened appearance with nice contrast. These pieces may resemble Original old carvings. Bill signs many of his nickels with a Z on the reverse for BillZach. His artistic nickname derives from the first name and last name. I mean, his first name and the first name of his grandson, Zach. So I have 4 examples of Bill Jameson. There is the first one. You can see he has not removed the feathers, and he added a headband on there. Wayside Wade is here. I was thinking of Wayside Wade yesterday when I was told by somebody that about an hour from here up in the Okoboji Spirit Lake area is an antique car museum. Wade has been checking a lot of those out lately, so I know he does other museums, but he seems to like his antique cars. Looter 8 is here. And Liberty is barely visible. The 1928 is harder, maybe under the magnifying glass it'll be more clear, but I see no sign of a signature on the reverse. But they did say that it was only some of his coins got. I can't even make out the 1928 there. So. They have it labeled 1928. Maybe under better lighting. Next, Bill Jameson. You can still somewhat see the feathers, but he is gone from just a headband to actual hat, and he's at as a cigarette. On there with some, and a very light mustache. I don't have 4 Bill Jamesons. I have 5. My mistake. Once again, I don't see any sign on the reverse. You can more clearly see the date on this one. You can make out 19. I would have guessed 36. The person who made the label says 38. You can see that the features are more distinct on here. The ones with the feathers may be where it was mentioning early on where he was not using his tools properly. And there are 2 basic tools which you can sharpen down nails and make the basic tools. And they are simply a straight blade, a straight edge, sort of a chisel-like tool which you use to clear your carving area where you want to remove features of the original, and then a V-shaped one for drawing lines. Or at least that is my very amateur understanding. This one is labeled Indochina Soldier. And once again, I do not see a signature on the back. As he only did some of them, I may not have an example of his signature. Adventure in Michigan with Lisa is here. The year is either worn off or removed, and Liberty is barely hinted at on there. So I don't see it. Kind of marking on the reverse on this one either. And there is the final of the Bill Jamesons. Yeah. So, based on Alpen's work in 2002, that would be all of my coins that were made in the 80s or 90s. Plus an example of what Ron Landis is doing these days at Landis Studios. So even in the 90s, we are not seeing any of the creative additions that we have now. We still have yet to have a coin that has a skull on it, which is obviously a modern creation. And I got in a few coins in yesterday. All of these are from Brent Pearson. This one is done on a half penny. Yeah. With Queen Elizabeth. With a skeletal look. This is the 1971 1 peso. And he is only carved on the obverse, so there's no reason to show you the reverse, but let's see there. Try to get rid of the glare. 1971 1 peso. And I have the guy's high collar. I'm not sure if Brent added the decorative details on the collar or those were part of the coin. I Am Zaxxon is here. And then when I bought those two from Brent told me he was going to throw in something extra. And so he sent me that modified Hobo nickel as a Christmas gift. Because it is very easy if you were on social media and talking to the various creators to make friends with them. And most of them are very friendly and like talking about their hobbies. Imagine that. Because there's a bit of the decorative still on part of that skull. I'm guessing that was part of the original coin. What are we looking at for time? We are at 8:40. And Eric Elfin says, Happy New Year's to 2023. Hope we are all healthy always. And I gave Eric a wrench, so now he can post his link to his channel or hit the All Crucial Go-To channel, which is the easiest way to go check out someone's channel. I blazed through my material too easily this week. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Neo Adventures is here, saying hi to me and then hi to the chat. You'll notice, I mentioned earlier that Starrylock stream will redirect straight over to Monardo Rob's stream. That is a feature of live streams that are available only once you reach 1,000 subscribers. And Stories Lost and Found is the day 879, so I have 121 to go. I've had some nice growth lately on Stories Lost and Found. I think I've gotten it's been over 150 subscribers in the last month. So, and I've also had, while my shorts stopped being featured, and so I would only get like 20 or 30 views on my shorts, my shout out video this week actually got featured on the home page, and so it's up around 700 views. Unfortunately, it doesn't really help the video for its main purpose, which is a shout out, and we got about 7 to 9 subscribers with 700 views on a video. So that's kind of it's a nice number for views, but not so good on being a shout out, or at least that's my view on it. Why don't I turn the camera this way, and then we'll lower it down a bit in case you are missing my cat greeting you, or the Day of the Dead skull, or the turtle from Guatemala. Yeah, I've gotten some of my shorts have gotten up around 5,000. I know people with even smaller channels than mine that have gotten 20,000 views on their shorts. Shorts are kind of real iffy and can shoot through the sky or just sort of meander. Brockton Magnet Fisher reminds everyone to smash that thumbs up because you love this guy. And I'd appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up, even if you don't love me, but just like my channel. I Am Zaxxon has one short over 400K, and others didn't hit 200. Yeah, that's about the nature of shorts. It is 8:45. My housemate wants the car this morning because he has places that he wants to go. So I'm going to wrap up here soon, but not before we say good morning to Joe over at Michigan Gems, who has joined us. And Time and Tide MD is here. So when I hit that end broadcast, everyone who is on Starrylock gets automatically redirected. So it tells me over to Rob's channel. And I am a Monardo maniac. 50 out of 50. Apparently, I'm the last selected person in a very exclusive club. And for the rest of you, you can go down in the description and launch over to him, or you can choose to head over to Liz. I'll let you go. I know Rob and Charlie always appreciates when everyone comes in and says Starry raid. Rob has actually told me that personally, so it's great that you guys are doing that and letting him know that I'm sending you his way. I know his Y starts the same as mine. It's an unfortunate coincidence, but I don't take up his entire time. So you know, if you head over there now, you end up with the last 90 minutes of his instead of the full 2.5. So that is all I have today. If you have any questions about Hobo Nickels, put them down in the comment. I always check all the comments, and then I will do what research I can and answer any of your questions you have about Hobo Nickels. If I don't get any Hobo Nickel questions, we'll just look at more of my collection. We'll start just from the start and move forward alphabetically so that you can take a look. That estate sale where I got 93 coins is definitely the best thing that ever happened to any Hobo Nickel collector, and really gives me a selection to check for you to check out. Tripwire says, thanks, Starry's Lost and Found equals cool stream. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you, everyone, for checking it out and bearing with me with all my little camera flukes. And we will see you soon.